today's the day. We've got 25,000 plants out here. I think we got about 10,000 Camarosa, 2,500 Sweet Charlotte, 2,500 Ruby June, 5,000 Chandler, and 2,500 Camino Real. I think that's the right quantities. Anyway, it's 25,000 plants here, and we got them all segregated by what they are. Pretty sure these are the Camarosa. I'm not sure why they're lighter green, but they look like really good plants. The Camarosa in particular, standing up pretty and tall. Real good root system on them. And I can see something I already like. Every other strawberry nursery that I'm aware of, everywhere we've ever gotten strawberry plants from, uses these cheap little 50 cell trays. If you plant strawberries, you more than likely know what I'm talking about. Whether they got a good root system, bad root system, wet, dry, doesn't matter. The plants just don't come out of those cups very good. But these are a much more sturdy flat. And where they're these cone shaped, check this out. I've not come through and pulled these out ahead of time. Look. Bam. That's gonna be nice. That's gonna be a big deal sitting on the water wheel. It'll make a big difference. This is a homemade water wheel transplanter that I built a few years ago. I just kind of looked at pictures on the internet, and that's how I built it. It works fair. I don't have anything to compare it to, so I guess I could say it works great because I've never ridden or used any other kind of water wheel transplanter. I built everything down to even building the wheels, the water wheels. I built it with 2 seats on it to start with, and then later on I realized that 2 people can't plant double 12-inch spaced strawberries very well. That's a lot of plants in a hurry. So I added the seats on the back, and I just did sort of like a reach type deal so I can take them on and off. Depending on the weight of your people riding, it takes a pretty good sized tractor to handle this because it takes a lot of weight off the front end of the tractor. But it works out pretty good. The only thing I wish was different was I wish I had 300 or 400 gallons of water, because that's the biggest bottleneck. But anyway, I'm gonna get my ducks in a row before everybody gets here and gets ready to plant, and I'll see y'all back in a few. For our spacing, I've got different wheels for this water wheel planter, and you can see the water line can be moved to the other side, and you can turn one side off where you only run one wheel in the center. I've got different spacings for that, but for strawberries we run 2 12-inch wheels, which actually plant the plants somewhere in the neighborhood of 14 inches apart because you don't get a true 12-inch spacing. And the wheels are set where the plants are about 10-11 inches apart in the center, and we could space them out a little more, but with 14 inches that works out pretty good for us. Some people will plant them as close as 10 and 10, but the further apart you have your plants, the better airflow you'll have and the less botrytis, anthracnose disease pressure you're going to have during this season. So this planter, when it's full, it holds 26 trays of plants. With strawberries are typically always grown, the plugs like what we use are typically always grown out in 50 cell flats. So that means we got about 1,300 plants on this planter at one time. It takes us about 10 minutes to plant a load, and that's with having a few left over at the end. So we probably plant 11 or 1200 in 10 minutes. And you hear that and think, well, that's really fast, and it is. That's making good time. You have to account for the time it takes to fill up with water, and you have to stop every 10 minutes and fill back up with plants. So it'll be most of the day affair to plant 25,000, but it rolls on pretty good. There's two things that make a plant want to reproduce: the season and stress. And you can see these strawberries right here. These are the Camarosa that we're planting. You can see they're starting to put out runners. And what that is, right here's a good example. It's reproduction. All of our strawberries are grown with, at least in North Carolina, our strawberries, generally all of the tips. That's what these little runners are called, is a tip. Find another one. Right here's another one. This is a tip. These are grown in big greenhouses with a lot of biosecurity in Canada. The reason they do that is because they have no humidity up there, and so they have no disease pressure. So we can get certified, clean, disease-free tips from Canada. They ship them down here, stick them in flats to grow them out for us. Welcome to North Carolina. We run the heat wide open in the morning, and by lunchtime we're cranking the air conditioning. Grabbing a fistful of rainbirds here so we can get some overhead irrigation running on these strawberries. It's not 100% necessary, especially if you got a lot of soil moisture, but it sure does seem like it gets them off to a better start. I think you sprinkle somewhere around 250 or 300 foot long, about 12, 13 rows wide with the number of rainbirds that we've got. So as we get a section done, we'll move our sprinklers down, and just a little bit of overhead water to get them watered in really seems to help. That big fire pump with the Do-It's diesel on it that I've been talking about for a year now, I still ain't got it ready to go. So we're still using a little 2-inch Predator pump. And it's all she wants, but she will run these 4 rainbirds pretty dang efficiently, and especially since the pond is right there at the edge of the woods. These are can't remember now, Rainbird 30s. It runs the heck out of them. There's the fuel tanker bringing the fuel for the pump. When we got our sprinklers running, we put a T in here. Okay. So that we can fill up the water wheel rapido out of the creek. It'll run creek water just as good as it runs well water.
Hello.
We've got a few thousand left to go, but I think I'm gonna wrap this video up. Just wanted to show you one last little thing we do where we plant so many different varieties. We don't always do a great job. We try to keep pretty good records. Camarosa, we know we're not going to quit growing it. We know we're going to grow it every year, but we still got to know where it's at if we're going to keep records on the new stuff. So we've got, like I said earlier, we got 10,000 Camarosa, about 5,000 Sweet Charlie. Those are kind of our staples. Camarosa, because of the great flavor, people love them. They have really good shelf life as compared to Chandler. Chandler's a decent tasting strawberry. I'm not sure if I like it as good as Camarosa or not, but Chandler has no shelf life whatsoever. You have to put berries in the cooler. Camarosa, you have to sort through them the next day and still have a hard time telling what was today's berries and what was yesterday's berries. Chandler, you put them in the cooler, by the end of the day they've turned burgundy wine color and they look old. People don't want them. So we still grow Chandler because they're a good yielder and they're a good tasting berry, but the bulk of our crop, unless something changes, the bulk of our crop will always be Camarosa. So we've got 10,000 Camarosa, 5,000 Sweet Charlie. We grow Sweet Charlie, they don't yield good, but they taste great, and they're early, super early. They'll beat everything else to the market. 5,000 Chandler, because of the great yield and the good flavor, and we're trying a couple of new ones this year that we've never done before. Been wanting to do them for a long time. Camino Real, I've heard different things from different people. We're going to give it a go. It's supposed to be a good performer with good flavor and great big berries. That's what we like. And Ruby June, never tried it before. I'm pretty sure Ruby June's a day neutral berry, but not 100% sure on that. That's the lineup for this year, and I need to know where they're at so I can taste test them and so we can keep up with the yield data, because I want to know what's performing and what is not, because if it ain't keeping up, if we're trying something new and it's not keeping up with the old, it'll be canned just as quick as it was brought in. But I believe I'm gonna wrap it up here. I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you next time.